Imagine what would happen if instead of chasing love, validation, outside circumstances to fulfill you or the perfect life, you fell in love wildly and unapologetically with your own soul first. And imagine then to live from so much inner freedom that life itself becomes your companion and the right people simply join you for the ride. Hello everyone, my name is Doris Victoria. Welcome to today's video. I am your coach for soul empowerment, and I want to talk about how oftentimes we are clinging to old stories that are holding us back. We have forgotten who we are along the ride. But imagine when you fall in love with your soul, life stops being something you chase. And instead, you start dancing with it. So let me explain a little bit. So many clients, so many friends, and myself included always, I am always, referring to everything and everyone that I see in the micro and the macro environment. And this is the energy update for the current moment. So many of us light workers, star seeds, old souls that are here on planet Earth with a very, very important mission and purpose, we are being held back, or we are holding ourselves back by our old stories. And those stories could be something like, I'm not good enough, or I don't have that figured out yet, or I haven't done this yet, or I don't even have my certification to do this or this yet. But then those stories are actually maybe something that protected you at one point, but now they're limiting you. They're building walls around your heart, and those stories are limiting you. Because what if all your life, even though you have been struggling until now, and you don't live the perfect life yet, what if this exact journey was your preparation, your certification program, so to speak, your graduation from spiritual academy? Let's say it this way, from a spiritual academy of old wise souls here on earth, coming back with a higher purpose. So just imagine that for a moment, that you could let go of all those beliefs. I'm not good enough yet, or I'm still living in scarcity, or I'm still living with this, or I haven't figured out my partnership yet, but I so want to do partner counseling or whatever. Just imagine if your own journey would have been the preparation for that. And let me tell you, there will always be challenges along the way. There will be challenges, like, look at me, for example. I caught a slight cold and taking good care of myself, as we old souls know how to do it. But this is, for example, one thing. The clearing goes on and on and on and on. And once you're on your way, nobody expects you to be perfect. So when I'm talking about the old stories, maybe again, these old stories were once your protector and you felt safe hiding behind them. But now they're really becoming something that is holding you back to live unapologetically as your soul self. And your soul, dear one, already knows. Your soul has always known. And this brings me to my next point. You do not have to start perfect. Just start. When I said before, let me bring this beautiful phrase back. When you fall in love with your own soul, life stops being something you chase, and instead you start dancing along with the wind. Imagine the wind for a moment. Just close your eyes and feel a breeze. And have you ever been in a forest while it was windy? Or have you ever been in, let's say, around pine trees? The wind always has a different language. I don't know if you realized it. I do realize it every time I'm out in my nature walks. When I'm walking along an oak tree, the wind sounds different than when I walk along pine trees. And then again, when I'm just next to grass, The wind again sounds different. Every time it tells you a different story. It makes you its companion if you want to listen to it. So let's start shifting. I made a little outline here today to help you more with what I wanted to say. Yeah, I talked about the wind already. And imagine that you would just be like the wind and you can flow with curiosity, free like the wind, as your soul is dancing with life. And you would just be held by the wind. Imagine you let yourself drift into new experiences, not with fear, but with wonder, trusting that each breath carries a lesson meant for your evolution. So imagine you start living your purpose today. Again, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to start. You are just blowing, breezing like the wind in the grass or beyond trees. The wind might dance a little bit with a tree and then move on to the next tree, just curious, and then move over the lands. That's my original point. When you fall unapologetically and wildly in love with your own soul, then life itself becomes your companion and the right people come in and follow you for the ride. The wind will pick up leaves that are so enchanted by the wind that they want to come with him. They want to fly with him. And the same, you will attract people in your life that will want to fly with you and go into new dimensions and explore new dimensions. So when you love your own soul, you then stop abandoning yourself. Sorry. You become a home you never want to run away from. How so? Imagine your home in your own soul. You are talking to yourself kindly. Imagine being the wind along the ride. And if you feel walls, if you see houses coming along and you feel like, oops, there's a block, there's a wall, just move around those walls. And remember, nothing has to be perfect. Just go along with these obstacles. Know that it doesn't have to be perfect. And your own soul, when you're home in your own soul, that's when everything can change. Because then you are treating yourself like your own best friend. I want you to become aware of how you are treating yourself today and simply check in. Are you being kind with yourself? Are you being honest with yourself? Are you being gentle with yourself? Or are you still beating yourself up for little things? So just, sharing a little bit of myself. Yesterday I had a moment that I felt really low with this cold going on. And first of all, I realized how I started beating on myself. And I was like, how can this be? I am living so healthy. How can this be? I caught another cold. I know what is in the air and I know what's in chemtrails, but still, I also do everything that my immune system is strong. So, how can I say? Yesterday I was really beating on myself, and then I started telling myself, wait a moment, this is not how I want to be treated. This is not how my soul, how my inner self would treat me, especially now that I feel low. My soul, my inner self, my higher self is always there lovingly as my companion, holding its hand out so that I can reach it and walk with it. So your higher self, your soul, would never beat on you. So what I did is I stood up, I stood in front of the mirror, and I looked into my left eye, because the left eye, and this might be the right side with the opposite here, but make sure that when you look into the mirror, look into your left eye. And then start talking to yourself like you would speak to your very best friend or to another beloved person. What would you tell this person? Hey, love, it's okay. You're doing great. Look at you. You had the courage to start something new. Look at you. You had the courage to put yourself out there. You had the courage to start talking to people online. You had the courage to start this new project. You're doing great. How are you feeling? And then you might say, oh, well, I feel low. I feel shitty today. And then your higher self would simply say, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. That's part of life. It's okay. Healing happens in the presence of a compassionate witness. So be your own compassionate witness when you look into the mirror, from beating yourself up to being home in your own soul. So let me see if there's anything else that I forgot. Yes, so let's do this. Here I want to share some practical ways to start the journey of love and coming back home, falling in love with your own soul. I want to share some practical tips so that you can fall in love with your own soul. And let me tell you something before I continue with this. Your soul has been waiting for you to fall in love with it for ages. For ages. All past incarnations, including this lifetime, your soul has always been here wanting to come home, wanting for you to come home to it, so that you too can start living that beautiful life of abundance, of bliss, of joy, of fulfillment, of alignment, of purpose, of mission, no longer being afraid of what anybody else on the outside world would tell you, no longer being afraid that there wouldn't be any validation for you or that circumstances wouldn't work out. So the first tip, check in daily with yourself. That's what I meant before when I told you about my mirror exercise. Stand in front of the mirror every day. I think I shared that already once in my former videos. For those of you following me, you might have seen it. So if you start your day standing naked in front of your mirror and telling yourself that you love yourself, and maybe if you do this for the first time, it might feel a little weird for the first time you're doing it, but if you do this over and over again, I'll promise you something within you will shift. So I can do this now. I can stand in front of the mirror in the morning, as swollen as I am at the moment, and tell myself, you look gorgeous. I love you. You're just beautiful. You're my one and everything, and I love you. Because remember, everything all of us we ever had was our own soul. Our own soul would never abandon us like maybe other people would. If you have yourself, you have it all. Because if you have yourself, then the right people that got themselves can come into your life, and you would form relationships that are in health and in alignment instead of codependency and addiction. So that daily self-check-in is very, very important. That mirror exercise. How are you feeling, my beloved? You know what? It's okay. Let's just give each other a smile. Let's hum a little bit, whatever it is that makes you feel better. Sing a song for yourself in front of the mirror. Talk to yourself like someone you adore. I already said that. Always remember, when you check in with yourself, remember that you are your own best friend. And if you talk to yourself like you would want to be talking to, everything will change. Oftentimes we do not realize that inner self-talk that we have towards ourselves. And oftentimes it's the voices of our parents. And that's okay. You know, there will be this moment of awareness where we are realizing, wait a moment, what I said to myself was not fair. It wasn't just. Allow yourself to try without perfection. I already said that before. This is very, very, very important. Whatever it is that you feel called to do, just do it. Don't wait anymore until you got the certification, until you got this or that. Just do it. Just start. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Sit in silence with your own presence. This is why I always stress meditation. Meditation is so, so important. Meditation is like conscious sleep. And let me tell you that what you forgot in life or what life made you forget is what you will remember in your dreams. And when you dream, usually when you sleep, you dream. So when you meditate, you allow yourself to go into that sleepy state. And it's not necessarily a sleepy state, it's just a state of perfect relaxation. You know, tension is what we learned here on earth to be, but relaxation is who we are. So when you sleep, you relax your body, and hence the universal energy can flow through you and bring you dreams and bring you ideas that will help you remember what you forget by looking into this world. So allow yourself to meditate and even to sleep more if this is something that you need right now. Always ask yourself, what does my soul need today? Do I need a walk? Do I need 30 minutes just with a magazine and a nice cup of tea? Do I maybe need to do a trip to another environment, just for a day, just to change the environment a little bit? Whatever it is, follow along with your soul's requests. And then take on curious, soul-led action each day. What do I mean by that? Well, meditation could be one of those actions. Or if you wanted to write a book, start writing the first line. And I'll promise you, I have published my first book in 2019. When you start writing your book and you start writing the first line, suddenly more lines will flow out of your hand. Sometimes it just takes to start. It's just that little moment that you allow yourself to overcome those blocks that have been keeping you from doing what it is that you wanted. So I encourage you to start right now. Fall in love with your soul today. Start. It doesn't have to be perfect, just start. Remember the wind. The wind is not perfect. Sometimes it stops, sometimes it carries on, sometimes it stops, sometimes it carries on. It can find obstacles, but it wouldn't let the obstacles block it, kind of like water as well. Remember how water, little tiny rivers, would you ever have thought that a little tiny river could ever build the Grand Canyon? No. One of the world wonders today, the Grand Canyon. Would you ever thought that a tiny river would be able to do this? So the same that you would have not think that a tiny river of water that is consistently flowing without stopping, it doesn't start and then it stops. No, it keeps going like the wind, like your soul wants to keep going. It would build a world wonder, just like your soul. When you start today, you will find your way and you will leave beautiful traces of love behind you. Fall in love with your soul as it is today, because as of today, your soul already has everything that you need in order to start whatever it is that you always wanted to do. It can be messy, beautiful, imperfect, but it is always, always divine. Even the divine is not always perfect. Remember that. So start walking hand in hand with your soul today and allow yourself to have life as your companion. And you will see when you start walking the first path that the first step, the path will suddenly appear. You will clearly see the next step, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. Let life become your companion. And again, I want to finish off today by inviting you, to write in the chat, what would you like to share with the audience today? What is helping you to overcome your own obstacles, to overcome your own limitations, your own doubts? Let us know in the chat below. And here it is, this beautiful phrase again. When you fall in love with your own soul, then life stops being something you chase and becomes something that you dance with. So dance with life today, beloved soul. That's what you're here for. And I am with you all along the way. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.